Today, we are going to be covering the box office report, Charlie Kaufman's comments on the current state of Hollywood, Best Picture pie, not box office this time, the plot rumors on the upcoming Avengers sequels, Florence Pugh being eyed to play Rapunzel, Lupita Nyong'o being eyed to play Princess Tiana, House of the Dragon Season 2 to be 8 episodes long, not 10 episodes, and for our grand finale, we'll finish off with Logan Paul's comments on Oppenheimer. All right, you movie junkies and pop culture enthusiasts, you're ready for another exciting episode of Let's Be Real. I'm your host, James, and I am not graced in the presence of Nan today. He is away from me, but we are doing this remotely. I do apologize if the audio quality is not as good. We are doing this through Zoom and not the usual way we do it. But Nan, how are we doing, man?
Good, very good. Away from Auckland, which is nice and full for once doing a podcast. It's great.
Not starving this time, are you?
Not starving. Got my drinks here.
Straight after work. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't have to wait till 11 p.m. for dinner now.
No, not at all.
Yeah. What have you been getting up to down there?
Nothing much. Just chilling. Dad's giving me tasks of water blasts in the house, so I have to do that eventually. But it's been
your
raining.
Only job for a month.
Oh, and making sure the dog doesn't die. That's the other, probably more important one.
Yeah,
but weather has been pretty shit. The weekend, so couldn't do that much.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, Auckland was really bad. Just stormy the entire time. Yeah, good old New Zealand weather. Yeah. All right. So before we dive into action, we want to hear from you guys. Slide into our DMs on Twitter with your suggestions and any topics or ideas that you'd like us to cover. Who knows? Might just make it onto our show. Now, if you're wondering what we look like, trust me, you're in for a treat. We look way better than we sound. So click that subscribe button, follow our podcast, support the show, and support our endeavor to get onto video. All right. For more exclusive content, head to our website, MovieGainz.com. We got all of our stuff there, box office, physical media, movie reviews, you name it. Shout out to you guys for listening to us today. It is a pleasure to be a part of your day, and we're here to entertain, inform, and provide bad movie recommendations. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, the box office for the weekend. Blue Beetle debuts at number 1 with 25.4 million. Barbie at second with 21.5 million, just dropping 36.5% for 567 million in total. Oppenheimer is third, dropped 43.7% for 10.6 million on the weekend. That's sitting at 285 million in total. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, still a mouthful to say, that came in at fourth, dropped 45% for 8.4 million, and that's sitting at 88 million. Strays debuted at 8.3 million in the fifth spot. Some milestones for the weekend. Oppenheimer got an interesting record. Highest grossing movie to never hit number 1. It beat the movie Sing, the animated singing animals movie. That had 270 million in total, and Oppenheimer is at 285, and it's never hit number 1. So yeah, interesting record there. Oppenheimer also tops Interstellar for Nolan's 4th biggest movie. It's sitting below The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight, and Inception. Elemental beats Across the Spider-Verse internationally with 458 million worldwide. Talk to Me has now made 10 times its budget with 46 million. Barbie is sitting at 1.27 billion, less than 100 million away from the Super Mario Bros. Movie for the box office crown for this year. And Barbie also Warner Brothers' biggest film all time domestically. So yeah, Nan, what do you make of this weekend and some of those milestones there?
Yeah, Blue Beetle is about what everyone was expecting, especially you. I think you got it right on the money, right? 25 million?
Yeah, around the 24 to 26 mark, I said.
Yeah, so there's no surprises to that. I think it's maybe because of the DC brand and the unknown character of Blue Beetle, which is why barely anyone showed up to it. But that's pretty decent considering their circumstances. Like with Shazam, at least they had like a movie to build up towards, and it's more popular than Blue Beetle. But the fact that Blue Beetle did this, I think it's a win for DC.
Yeah.
For the new DCU, and hopefully can have some decent legs overall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some of the milestones. That first one from Oppenheimer is like one that no one really wants, eh?
Yeah.
Like never hitting number one, but like being the highest grossing movie as well. That's
It's
insane.
still, yeah, it's just quite an impressive record to get to like nearly 300 million without ever hitting like the number one spot.
Yeah, crazy.
Uh,
Elemental beating Across the Spider-Verse, that's somewhat surprising, but then not surprising at the same time. Just goes to
mm,
show that that film had insane legs since its opening weekend and is a huge
yeah.
one for Pixar, regardless of how much
Hmm.
money it made. Talk to me,
Yeah.
we're definitely gonna get more sequels now after that. 10 times its budget, that's insane for like a indie horror film. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, all the rest is pretty much stock standard. Come next
Mm,
week. Barbie will probably be the highest grossing film of 23, for sure.
yeah.
Um, and in
I
term,
don't know.
you don't think
Carry
so?
on, sorry. Yeah.
And Barbie being the biggest Warner Brothers film of all time, domestically, just goes to show the power of a meme and how great that can do for not only just Warner Brothers but Universal as
Mm.
well.
Yeah, yeah. Barbie, I mean, I don't think anyone saw Barbie taking away the biggest film for Warner Brothers domestically. I think The Dark Knight is their number one, or it was their number one. But I just think it's nuts that no Warner Brothers movie has gone above what The Dark Knight did. You know,
Is it
you think
dark?
of Warner Brothers and you think it's like the second biggest Warner Brothers
Yeah.
or second biggest studio. Yeah. So I found that to be the most surprising factor of it. But yeah, Barbie at 1.27 billion. I don't think next week it will, because it only got I got about 21 million this weekend, and then I think it got around like 36 internationally. So when you include the drops and stuff like that, I still think it's pacing for about 1.42 to 1.45 billion by the end of it, which isn't too much above Super Mario Bros, but it will definitely beat it. But I think wait for around that 2 week mark for it to do it. For it to get another 80, 90 million, maybe a bit out of length, but it's definitely possible. Um, but yeah, I think Elemental has just had such a crazy run at the box office. It just continues to just keep going, and it's completely deserved. Pixar needed a win, and I'm glad they're rewarded with a win for a movie that's good and somewhat original, unlike Lightyear, which lost money because it was horrible and a stupid idea to begin with. Um,
You hate that movie so much.
I've never liked that movie. Ever since I heard about it at D23, I've disliked it. I thought it was the worst idea ever. But yeah, Strays dropping or not dropping, but debuting at 8.3 million. I did expect a little bit more, something around the 10 to 11 mark. Kind of just goes to show comedy and being released these days compared to everything else. But yeah, Blue Beetle opening up at the 25 million mark. It's I think it's okay given the circumstances, and that's what it's still a bomb at the end of the day, and we shouldn't shy away from that. But under the circumstances, the DC brand, the DCU, all this kind of stuff, and the fact that it's an unknown character, it's okay. Because I think it got like 44 million worldwide in its opening, and it's open in 65 markets. So most of the marketplace in 45 million opening. It might do less than Shazam, and that's yeah. Oh, that's yikes for DC. Warner Brothers better be happy they got Barbie this year, man. Because my goodness, I don't know if Warner Brothers would be around after it.
It's not
But
looking good for them.
it's not looking good for them. Nor is it looking good for Disney or anything else. It's been a tough year for a lot of studios. So that brings me to Charlie Kaufman. He wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, being John Malkovich, one of the best screenwriters of his time. So he was making a point at um, Writers Guild thing in front of the members and stuff. And yeah, he was saying at this point the only thing that makes money is garbage. it's just fascinating. It makes a fortune, and that's the bottom line. Said that it's very seductive to the studios and also to the people who engage and become the makers of that garbage, including the writers, especially if they're lauded for the garbage because they don't have to look inward or think about what they're doing. And he's just referring to writers being praised for garbage material. Yeah, he said to the audience at the Writers Guild that the AI issue is broadened by the fact that the writers have been trained to eat and make the garbage too. So as long as they are in the arena of making that shit, then you might as well have the AI do it. I mean, I don't really know how to articulate it, but he didn't beat around the bush. He's very direct.
Holy fuck.
I mean, yeah. I kind of respect it that he was that direct about it. But what are your thoughts on it? Do you agree with those, kind of cutthroat comments there?
Some of it I do. Mainly that first point, where you said that the only thing that makes money is garbage. Majority of the stuff nowadays that we see is not of that great quality that we see in the past. Thing that outliers would be Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Avatar. They've been like very decent films, but stuff like Mario, that was pretty average. And then like the Transformers, Fast and Furiouses, they're all just mindless sort of garbage, which she's probably referring to. And the fact that it keeps like, getting sequels upon sequels, like 8 and 10 of them.
Yeah.
Sort of solidifies his points that there's not that many original films out there that's making money. And making money is not like has hit $1 billion. It can like be 2, 3, 4, 500 million above its budget, and that's considered a success. Good thing Talk to Me is around and is betting on
doing just that
behalf, so that's good on that. In terms of all the writers stuff, I can't tell if he's for or against the writers in their striking. Just looking at these comments, it seems like as if he's like not on their side.
No, he definitely supports him. He was in amongst this whole speech. He was calling out the studios for, really bad pay packages and stuff. So he is in support of them, but I think he's voicing something a little bit deeper here.
Yeah. That last point in regards to AI writing stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that come next year or the year after. But it'd be good to see what that quality is like and see if it is like, if AI is better than human. I doubt it because human just has that eye for detail and stuff like that. Where AI just a robot, doesn't really compel emotionally, can't tell an emotional story or whatnot. But
yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree. And AI, it doesn't have the human element, which is kind of what makes screenplays and narratives the best that they can be. But I mean, honest question: could an AI write a Fast and Furious or Transformers movie and say the studio kept it secret? Could the audience tell? Do you think that would be possible?
I doubt it. I don't think so. I mean, if
you think we'd tell,
what wouldn't tell?
Oh yeah. I don't think we'd tell. Like it's like you said, those movies are very mindless. Mindless movies. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about Secret Invasion and the opening credit scenes, no one would have thought that was done by AI until it was announced by studios.
Yeah, and then everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, we could tell. It looked like garbage."
It's like, fuck off, you could tell.
Yeah, they couldn't tell. But I mean, I don't agree with AI writing films, and I don't think you do either. But if they are going to do Fast and Furious and Transformers movies and have really bad writing and not be held accountable for that writing, then just do AI. Like, I think writers themselves need to be writing of better quality, and studios, I think we're all stuck in this loop of just accepting mediocre stuff. And then it's like we were talking last week, the studios, they buy into the idea that the casual audience loves all this stuff. They love Fast and Furious and Transformers, but that's all they're getting. So that's all they can go to. So it's not really a matter of that's what they want or that's what they love. It's just that's what they see. But yeah, I obviously don't want AI to be writing anything. I want it to be used as a tool to help with different areas, but not to write the main thing, because we would lose the human side of it, which I think is very important to screenplays and stuff. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. We'll move on now to our most delicious segment that we do.
I am fucking thankful I ate before this podcast. If I was still in Auckland and I saw another pie segment with no pie, I'd be so mad and hungry that I would
well,
just leave.
I would have brought a pie if you were around, but I guess I might have to have a pie after this podcast to celebrate. All right. So, for those of you that haven't listened to one of these segments before, basically what we do, or what I do, for this one is that I break up anything that has, at least for this example, anything that has a chance to win Best Picture at the end of the year gets a slice of the pie. So I've noted down movies, and if a movie has 0%, I believe it has 0% chance to win Best Picture at the 2024 Oscars. And, larger the percentage, that means I have more faith in that it will be nominated by the end of it. As for Best Picture itself, this is one that will change very strongly over the time once we see the fall film festival circuit start to play out and we start to see how good these movies are. It will all change, and we'll keep doing these as we lead up to the Oscars and see if we are right by the end of it. See if the pie tells the truth. So we'll start off 0%ers here. So this is the films that have 0% chance of winning. Now they may be nominated, but I believe there's a 0% chance to win. So we'll start off Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, 0%. The fact, if I'm referring to a movie that has 0%, it means that it's in consideration to get a slice at some point, but not this time. And I don't think it will. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, only 3 animated movies have been nominated for Best Picture, and none has come close to winning it. So that's not going to happen here. Dumb Money, I think it might be a little bit too goofy for the Academy. We'll have to see, but there is a strong potential there. Sometimes these movies do well, referring to The Big Short, Vice, that kind of stuff. Even something like Wolf of Wall Street, which had the similar tone to it. Air, that's been talked about quite heavily. I just don't think it will have the kind of memorable things in favor of it once we reach the year's end. And Barbie, I believe this movie is going to rack up a ton of awards, on a ton of nominations, similar to Top Gun last year, and then kind of walk away with, perhaps 1 or 2, but mostly empty-handed. There's always that movie that makes, an absurd amount of money, and it's good, and everyone loves it, and the Academy votes it in. That is Barbie for this year. All right, we'll move on to the 1%ers now. So we got The Zone of Interest with 1%. Hearing stuff about that. That's going to debut soon, so we'll see how that is. The Killer by David Fincher. You can never really rule Fincher out, but I'm not hearing the best things about it, so we'll have to see how that plays out. And I think it is a Netflix movie, which may dim its chances just slightly. And Poor Things with Yorgos Lanthimos. He's kind of he's a mixed bag in terms of Academy taste. He has a very distinct style, similar to Wes Anderson. Not that they're similar, it's just how distinct the style is. The filmmaking is very, very interesting, and so we have to see whether the Academy really does buy into it. So deserves 1%, deserves to be discussed there. Second one is Ferrari. I think this will be nominated as Michael Mann's passion project as a director. So, and when you got an A-lister like Adam Driver, being the main guy in that, it's could be a good one. I think it's going to be something like Ford versus Ferrari in terms of quality, in terms of how it's received, and how it's Oscar situation fares out. Yeah. Okay. And we go to the 3%ers now. May, December. We've seen that one. It's very good. It's sharply written, but it's really only going to be a movie that's nominated for acting and writing, possibly directing, but I don't think so. And it will get that nomination. I think by the end of the year. I don't think it's enough to warrant a Best Picture win. Saltburn, we saw what Emerald Fennell did with Promising Young Woman, and yeah, she's a very promising director. Man shaking his head. So yeah, I think there's big potential in this one. Maybe 3% a little bit of a gamble at this point, but we'll start seeing the reaction soon. I just think she's a really strong chance after what we saw previously. Moving on to Dune Part 2 at 5%. Yeah, you might be thinking this one's a little low. I just don't buy the Academy supporting, or not supporting per se, not giving it to a conclusion of half a story. And the fact that they nominated Dune 1 all the way, or how big as they did, that might hurt its chances here. Also, Dune Part 2 is, it's a lot more action and driven in that kind of way. Maybe the Academy doesn't buy it. We'll have to see. I do think it's going to be up for a ton of awards. So if it's much better than the first one, then it can gather some strong momentum. We'll have to see though. It's just such a tough year for anything to really stand out. 6% is Past Lives. It's been sitting in the middle of the pack and always discussed ever since the start of the year. I think there's a real strong chance that it may be that, kind of indie darling that sneaks in there and just kind of shocks us with how much praise and how much it starts winning as we get up to the precursors and stuff. So I think it has a chance to sneak in. 7% is Maestro. It just feels like a movie made to be at the Academy Awards. You could argue that, the Bradley Cooper Jew face controversy may hold it back, but I think with the support of the family and the fact that Bradley Cooper kept up with him the entire time, I think that helps his chances, and this doesn't escalate beyond Twitter. I'm sorry, X. Yeah, Holdovers. It feels like another movie designed for the Oscars as well. It kind of got that Green Book vibe, that kind of feel good comedy, but not like a full comedy, like comedy drama. Similar to also Banshees of Inisherin last year. I think it really can do some wonders there. We'll have to see though. Color Purple, the last one done by Steven Spielberg. I think that's tied for the most nominations for a film that didn't win anything. I think it may get some redemption here. It will definitely win something. We'll have to see if it's any good or not, but it's a classic story. All right, move on to the big ones now. So Color Purple's 15%. Oppenheimer, I got it at 23%. Everyone's loving it except for Logan Paul. But that doesn't mean much to the Academy. It probably helps Oppenheimer's chances, if anything. But yeah, sitting at 23%, it's a strong rating. Everyone's loved it. Critics have loved it. It's making a killing at the box office. I think everything's working in favor for it. If it can campaign well for the Oscar season, it has a really real chance at doing it. But the whole pack is just flooded with lots of good competition there, so we'll have to see. And I'm putting most of my faith in Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't really need to say much else. They're a powerhouse. They are cinema legacy. And from what we're hearing, it's just as, if not better than what Oppenheimer is. So I think it has a really strong chance, but I think it's going to be opening New York Film Festival coming up. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think those two are the big ones for the year. You never know with Oscars. There's always one that kind of pops up and becomes a really strong contender. So yeah, Nam, what do you think of the pie?
Yeah, I agree with it. I'd put Dune a bit lower, probably in the 3% bracket.
Oh yeah.
That's probably what I'll do.
Mm.
But I completely agree with the top two. I think Killers is going to dominate along with Oppenheimer. And I think
Yeah.
Barbie will probably have like the most nominations, but no wins. Or like not as many wins. But yeah, no, it's quite accurate. This also depends if some stuff gets delayed or not, such as Poor Things, The Color Purple, and Dune.
Yeah.
But
Especially Sorry,
Yeah, I think
carry on.
it's going to be Killer's Oscar season for sure.
Yeah, no, is definitely a chance. Oppenheimer obviously stands a good chance. But there's always those ones that can sneak in there.
That
I don't think the color.
that's the battle. That's the battle.
Yeah.
What we need to make that into a meme, Barb and
What?
or something.
We'll just start the next one and then they both win Best Picture. They split the trophy,
No,
or
they can.
or they do it like a La La Land and Moonlight.
How awkward would that be? Like they
Uh,
announce Oppenheimer first, and Nolan's like hyped to like win his first ever Oscar for directing, and then they're like, "Oh, actually, it's just Scorsese again."
oh, that would hurt. That would hurt. Imagine if they just said like the winner of Best Picture is Barbenheimer, and both groups just go up
That'd be even more awkward.
because it saved the film industry. But no, going back to your points, the color purple, I think it does have a chance to really, make some big moves if it is as good as Steven Spielberg's. It's a hard task to do, but it's got the talent behind it. Um, but I don't see it moving. I feel like Warner Brothers is smart enough to know that it's a good shout for Oscar season, and I don't think they want to jeopardize it by pushing it an entire year back. And I don't think they would push it back, to March next year or anything like that. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. Hopefully these strikes end somewhat soon, and the competition becomes is still very strong. But yeah, Killers and Oppenheimer. It's gonna be a good battle as we get closer to it. All right, we're gonna talk about some you guessed it, MCU stuff. As we always do, there's always something to discuss. But no DC. So that's kind of a win for us at this point. All right, so the upcoming Avengers films, Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret War. Some little rumors floating about, and I thought it'd be an interesting discussion because I think they're very interesting, and they can provide quite an interesting conversation. So apparently Avengers Kang Dynasty is about the new Avengers, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, those kind of ones that have come in. And then Avengers Secret Wars is to be the MCU legacy multiverse characters. They're coming together to save the MCU and reestablish a sacred timeline, which is that timeline that was established in Loki season 1 that Kang was protecting. So to get that back on track. And it's really just it was described in a way that was kind of reminiscent of what the Flash aimed to do with the DCU, kind of the soft reboot method. And so apparently it's going to be a send off to the entire Fox universe, and also to kind of close off the MCU. And in the aftermath, it will be an all new, all different MCU. So that's pretty big. If this comes to fruition, that's very big news, and it kind of changes the biggest franchise in history. What do you think about this?
Yeah. If Kang Dynasty is only going to have the new Avengers in it, then it's going to be pretty shit. I mean, we've only had like one film each, if that, of those characters, and they're going to be there leading. Like, fuck off, no way. They'll at least have like some sort of established proper main Avenger in there. Because that just having one movie each is not enough to build towards an Avengers film. At least it could be like, oh, what about Phase 1? No, shut up. Because at least with Phase 1, you had like they were all very popular like characters of Marvel, and Iron Man had like 2 films before we got to that, and then that catapulted into like more sequels for those characters. But these guys only have like 1 film. They might be lucky enough to get 2, some of them. Miss Marvel probably has the most experience right now, film and time wise, because she's gonna be in the Marvels, and she had her own TV series. So yeah, Secret Wars though, that's very interesting. I'd really like to see that happen. I don't know if Marvel Studios has the balls to do it, but that would be awesome if they did do that. Just like send off the Fox universe, cut ties with the MCU, and just start from fresh. I don't know I don't know what it means by an all different MCU. Does it mean it's basically going to get rebooted with, you know, a different Captain America and a different Iron Man, or is it just going to be like these new Avengers in like a new universe? That'll be interesting. I'll probably
Yeah.
prefer the first point that I made, just like a complete reboot and just tell different stories.
Yeah.
What we've seen. But yeah, I don't think Marvel has the balls to do it. But if they do, fuck, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the Secret Wars one is definitely surprising, especially if it's like a team up of like the legacy characters. You know, like if you get like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man come in and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it would be very cool to see. I don't know if it really if they could make it work in a way that made in-game so great. You know what I think what makes in-game and Infinity War so great is that there's so much, you know, emotion and urgency behind that entire plot. I don't know if it could replicate what that is, but at least kind of visually and seeing all those characters together would be really cool to see. I don't know if I'd like it. I know that I would have fun with it, but in terms of what it does to the MCU, I don't think I would enjoy it because, you know, I just can't capture what Infinity War and Endgame did. I don't know if we'll ever get back to that kind of quality of the MCU. Kang Dynasty with just the new Avengers. I think you nailed it on the head in terms of not not caring and it might be shit. Obviously it can be good. But it's just like, yeah, phase one had one movie per character except for Iron Man, of course. But more people watched those movies, and they were good, and you know people weren't so unsure about that universe at that time. So I think it was a lot more safe to do the Avengers back then. And also there was only 6 Avengers. There wasn't 10 or 15. So I don't know how that's gonna work.
That's true.
But in terms of its kind of closing off the MCU and opening up with an all new, all different MCU, I think it just means if they are trying to get the sacred timeline back and in motion, I think we're just gonna see like it almost completely rebooted, but like still the MCU, just all different, all new, and it kind of gives them a chance to start again in a sense. I think it is probably the best move for them because they've expanded too much. I keep telling you, I'm so sick of every mid-credit scene of just Skippy McDippy just showing up and be like, "Yo, I'm here." And it's just like, who are you? Why do I care? And I have to wait like 5 years to see that character again. There's too much characters. There's too much worlds. It's too much. The power levels are ridiculously out of whack. Like, there's no power control. Like, I thought Captain Marvel was the most powerful, and now it's Gaia of Secret Invasion, and I'm like, who is like the dominant force here? If you have the Avengers, no one should be able to beat them. It just, it doesn't make sense to me. I think they should go this route and close off nearly everything that you've done so far. And kind of, just start fresh. Start just a little bit fresh. I could really get on board with that if it's done right. But there's a chance that if they do this wrong, this kind of reboot, it could kill the entire MCU. And box office and everything else and the fan base could completely drop out because I think we've invested like years of our life being very invested with this franchise. If they just be like, oh no, by the way, we're just going to do like a little soft reboot, don't worry about it, people are going to be like, damn, I kind of spent all this time being invested and stuff and now you're just moving on to something new. I won't bother doing that again because that was a lot of time and effort kind of thing. I think that could, so it is a risk, but if they make it in a way that makes sense, then I think it can work. But no, we're sick of the Skippy McDippies, just focusing on main characters.
Fucking Skip.
All right. Yes. So we move on to the live action Tangled movie, which is going to be based on Rapunzel, of course. Got the very long golden hair. All right, so apparently Disney is eyeing up Florence Pugh as the heavy frontrunner for this movie. There's going to be nothing official announced until the SAG-AFTRA strikes have ended. But Nayan, based on this rumor that Florence Pugh It's the front runner for it. What do you think? Is she a good casting pick for it?
I could get on board with this room. I think it's very good casting.
Yeah.
We all know that Florence Pugh is a very capable
Mm-hmm.
actress.
Yeah.
And I definitely think she'll be able to do the role as of Rapunzel justice.
Mm-hmm.
But it really depends on who she's partnering up with. I think it's Flynn. Flint?
Yeah, Flynn. Yeah.
Flynn. I think,
Mm-hmm.
that whoever they cast in that role needs to make sure that they have good chemistry with Florence Pugh, because if it's just Florence Pugh like pretty much carrying all the scenes, then it's
Yeah.
just gonna come off like quite shit. And then obviously she'll probably end up getting the short end of the stick on it, and majority of the criticisms will go her way for, you know, delivering a bad film if she's
Mm-hmm.
the lead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she'll be absolutely fantastic in this role. I don't know if she can sing or not though. That's the only other thing. Um,
I can't think of anything.
yeah, me
Yeah.
neither. So I think that would probably be the first hurdle for her to
Mm-hmm.
jump over. If she can already sing, then fuck, ignore what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, if she can't, then she'll probably need to like, I know that you can like have acting classes and maybe like singing classes.
Mm.
And if she's
Yeah.
really wanting that role, then she can put that effort into that
Yep.
to make her a capable singer. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she would. She seems like an actress that really carries herself and dedicates herself to every character that she portrays. So you got to admire that. Going back to the Flynn thing, Zachary Levi plays Flynn in the animated one, and I was doing some research for this topic, and he had asked to play Flynn in the live action because he was like, he was saying, oh yeah, I heard that Florence Pugh might be Rapunzel, that they should have me because my real last name is Pugh, and then we can say Pew Pew and the during filming. So what about me or something like that? And I was just like, oh my gosh, like
Dude, that
this.
guy's so cringe. Come on.
Do you remember that like long live Instagram live that we watched of him just
Yes.
justifying everything?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. That was also cringe.
So okay, I hope it's not Zachary Levi, despite the pew pew jokes. I don't know who could really bounce off Florence Pugh that well. I'm sure there's a number of candidates that could play that role. It really just depends on what direction they want to take the Rapunzel movie, I guess. But I think Florence Pugh's a great addition. She obviously looks the part. You know, got the blonde hair, the green eyes, and all that. And you know, on an acting ability, she's one of the best in the business right now. At least for her age, she's one of the best. So you know, you put Florence Pugh in anything, and you know you're going to get gold when it comes to her performance. Uh, yeah, I really got nothing else to add besides that. Yeah. All right, another Disney princess that is coming to live action is Princess Tiana from The Princess and the Frog. Princess and the Frog, yeah. Lupa Nyong'o is being eyed up by Disney for the live action remake. Now, Princess Tiana is a 19-year-old girl in the animated one, and Lupita Nyong'o is 40 years old. And her age in the movie plays a big relevance to how she acts and what she wants to do in her life and stuff like that. So I'm quite interested on that point. So we'll focus on that before the other stuff. But yeah, what do you think about that? The massive age difference when it's quite integral to the character.
I mean, depends on how close to the story they're going to get. I've never seen Princess and the Frog, so I don't know the story.
Right.
But if the story is like dead hard set on her being a 19-year-old, and like that's the
Mm,
whole point of her character development and everything like that, then you probably should cast
yeah.
probably not quite a 19-year-old, but within the 25 to 18 sort of range,
Mm,
rather than a
yeah.
40-year-old.
Well, in terms of the story, she's like I think she's an aspiring chef, and she's like independent and a hard worker and wants to like run her own restaurant, but her dad wants her to focus on other things like family and all that kind of stuff. So you got the kind of daughter father relationship. That's why I consider it and quite integral to the character. Because she has dreams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyone that's watched that film in that case and is a diehard fan wouldn't be able to believe it if it's Lupita having those
Hmm.
like aspirations and dreams
Yeah.
just because she's quite older, 40 odd years old. Then you can definitely see that unless they go with the whole de-aging sort of look, but then to like de-age your main character for Let's Be Real, a 2 hour movie,
Yeah.
because I'm sure the original is like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
That's gonna cost a lot. So they might as well just find another actress that's within that age range. She's a fantastic actress, and no doubt she'll be able to nail the role.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just might as well. It's a perfect opportunity to build up a new star.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, I like Lupita Nyong'o as an actress. I think she is very, very good, extremely talented, and yeah, she is definitely one of the best out there today. But I just don't think this role is for her. I think the age thing does play a part in it, but if she was to be cast in the role, I'm not going to be angry or disappointed or not interested in it because I know what Lupita can do as an actress. But in terms of adapting the story as not maybe not as close as possible, but kind of keeping the same story beats to it, you kind of got to go that younger route and find someone with who has kind of Lupita's acting ability, but the younger age that can be realistic and audiences can buy into her age and her aspirations and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. All this talk about live action princesses, it just kind of makes me sad that that's all we're getting, just live action remakes. So yeah,
Basically,
basically. But I do recommend watching Princess and the Frog. I do like the movie. It is good.
yeah,
Um,
I'll get to. I can't remember if I brought it on my, how when the announcement of Disney was pulling all their stuff from Australia and New Zealand for 4K. I can't
yeah,
remember if I put it on my cart or not. I don't. I think I had it and then I ended up dropping it. Can't remember. I have to
yeah.
go home and have a look.
I got it. I can let you borrow it if you don't have it. But
Nice.
I think it's got the like same design cover as like a lot of the other ones. So I was like, oh, I need it because it kind of just all matches my other stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll let you borrow it. If not, you can watch it. I'll give you your avatar back in due time. Oh, yo, I have your avatar for a while now.
You do. You have a month to watch it.
unless unless you come back for Warriors, then you can send it down. Yeah, or
Oh
come up
yeah,
for Warriors.
I probably will.
Yeah. Um. All right. Well, move on to House of the Dragon now. I finished it last night, so I can finally talk about it. And man, what a season! Like the first 5 episodes, I nearly gave up because I was like, oh, this is boring. I don't know what's going on. There's too much, and it's not leading or moving forward in any way. And then it started to click together and unravel and get super interesting. And I started to click with the characters and what was happening. And I was like, oh, okay, this is good. And then the ending was just like, oh, can't wait for the next one now. So
Yeah.
it became really good by the end of it. I did really enjoy it. But oh, it's just another one off my TV watch list that I get to knock off and I get to start another show that I need to catch up on. So yeah, we're getting through it. But House of the Dragon is a goodie, and I cannot wait for the season next year. But we have heard that it's not going to be 10 episodes. It is being condensed down to 8 episodes long. So apparently the episodes are jam-packed with emotional and exciting sequences. And there's just so much happening in every episode, according to the director. It says that all the pieces are on the board, and now that they're set, they get to move on to the next chapter. So it sounds pretty exciting, and we definitely got that vibe from the end of the first season. But we've seen this tale before because George R. Martin says the TV series needs to be 4 seasons, 10 episodes each to do the story justice. We saw him say the same remarks regarding Game of Thrones and the closeout of those final 2 seasons. It should have been longer, and I think we can all agree on that. So what do you think about this again, where they're not really going the George R. Martin route, they're going the HBO route?
They're idiots. Obviously. Game of Thrones had the potential to literally be one of the greatest TV series of all time. And those last 2 seasons completely fucked it over. And it's
Yep.
gotten so many criticisms that you'd think that, they'll learn from
Mm.
their mistakes and clearly
Yep.
not based on this. I mean, you literally have the creator of this entire world wanting you to chuck on an extra 2 episodes per season, and you can do the story justice and a lot more to flesh out.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're just blatantly going to ignore this and go with the 8 episodes route is just, they're going to have like another Game of Thrones season 7 and 8 on our hands. Really, it's
Yeah.
just quite sad to see, because as you said, you said that you're quite bored for like the first few episodes of it, because that was where it was like, building up those characters and everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Compared to season 1 of Game of Thrones, it was exactly the same. Game
Yep.
of Thrones didn't really kick into gear until like the last final 2 episodes,
Yeah.
and then from there it became a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing is obviously is happening with this. If you're going to reduce it and force all the emotion and all the action within 8 episodes, you're not going to let everything breathe and get fleshed out nicely. It's just going to be like rush, 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 rush.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not too late and they can change their decision come season 3 or 4, or if it gets that far. But
Yeah.
God, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Because I was reading some of the stuff on it, and apparently they're saying we're having trouble like cutting each episode to an hour. I'm like, then make it 10 episodes. You don't need to cut all this material. And going back to what you just said about me being quite bored at the start of it and being a little bit lost, like the back end of the season 1 was so good because of the first season. Like, sure, the slow burn is quite tough to get through, but like it makes, when everything unravels, it makes it completely worth it, because you're like, oh shit, this is what it was leading to. Oh, that's clever and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, what do they think of the audience, that they just need action all the time and then they need all this stuff? Like, I think if your writing's good and compelling, they'll stay on, they'll stay committed to watching these things play out. And then, those big moments that you do have, the exciting stuff that they're saying for all these episodes, they're going to be so much worth it by the time we wait for it and get to it. Yeah. But yeah, like, so does this impact your excitement? Because I don't really know much of your opinion on the first season or House of the Dragon in general. So what do you think about the series? And are you excited for season 2?
Yeah, I enjoyed the series. I don't think I was bored throughout it. The whole thing, I was quite excited for each episode, and it left me hanging, similar to Game of Thrones. You were just wanting more and more next week.
Yeah.
I thought the ending was fantastic. Because I don't know much about, I don't know if it's a book or not, or based on a book, or
It is a book, yeah.
Whatever. But I wasn't expecting, that massive dragon to do what it did in like one bite. That was insane.
Yeah.
And that final shot, you can definitely see like what's her name?
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra. She's gonna come out for vengeance and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah. The sad thing is that it's not even like Aemon Targaryen's fault. Like, the dragon just did it on its own accord. Because the both of the dragons were just having a fight and they were just riding it. So it's going to be based on misunderstandings, which is annoying. But
yeah. In regards to, am I still excited for season 2? Yeah, I am. Just because the way that the whole first season was and the way it ended, it definitely, just because of this 8 episode length, doesn't mean that I can't get excited over it. I'll definitely be a lot more cautious now. In regards to what I'm going to get. I'm going to probably set the expectations for it to be based on season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones. If it goes above that, which is not that high of a bar, then awesome. If it's on par or below, then fuck, HBO needs to actually like listen and see that they are the problem.
Trust your main creator. But yeah, no, I think the series is definitely one that should be indulged in once a week. I think kind of binging it or watching it back to back it's a hard process, because when you're doing like 3 hours of like just dialogue driven episodes, kind of like a lot at once, you need to allow it to digest it. I think that's where I went wrong with it. But I won't have that problem with the second season. But yeah, I'm excited for it, and I think it will be interesting. But yeah, the 8 episodes and not listen to George R. R. Martin does raise a little bit of concerns there.
Definitely.
All right. You know what's more concerning though? Logan
As
Paul.
soon as I saw this news, I knew it was going to be on the show notes for today.
It's a little goofy ending for us. We're not going to take it that seriously. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, as bad as it may be. But Logan Paul, he walked out of Oppenheimer. Yeah, he walked out of it. He didn't dislike it. He walked out. So he was discussing Talk to Me with the directors on his podcast, and he congratulated them for having a high Rotten Tomatoes score in Oppenheimer. He then said that he tried to watch Oppenheimer before walking out of the film, saying he didn't know what they were trying to do, and saying that it's just talking, it's just exposition. But in past times, he said that he was very close to walking out of Interstellar because it was so slow. But now it's his top 3 film of all time. So maybe there's a chance one day that Oppenheimer makes his all-time list. We'll have to see. But for now, he's walked out of Oppenheimer, says it's just talking, and it's very, very big news. I saw the tweet from Culture Crave. 34 million people have seen that tweet. Yeah. So it's making big news. But yeah, what are your thoughts on his comments here?
You can always guarantee Logan Paul to like stir up some controversy or be like the hot topic for like certain amounts, and have a great discussion point. It'll be like wrestling, his videos, or boxing, and now movies. So this is obviously bringing more attention to Oppenheimer. Whether it's good or bad, who knows? But it's definitely being put in the spotlight a lot more, along with Logan Paul. I think he's an idiot for sure. But hey, he's a millionaire, so he can shit on me all he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the fact that he said that he was close to working out for Interstellar, now it's his top 3 of all time. Does that like not show you to stick around?
Yeah.
Especially for a Christopher Nolan movie, because if you're considering that, and then by the time you walked out of that film, you're like, oh shit, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
The same thing could have happened with Oppenheimer, and Oppenheimer, it does have a slow start, and then it kicks in the middle, and then it slows down again, and then the ending just gets you.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, so I'd actually really love to know his thoughts when and if he ever sees it in its entirety, what he actually thinks of Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Because I want to know where it ranks in his favorite movies of all time, and whether he thought walking out the first time was the right move. Because to be fair, the first time you see this movie has to be in a cinema.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't watch it at home unless he has like a full-on movie,
Yeah, with like
screen
a
at his
massive
house.
surround system, which he probably does. He's a very, very rich guy.
Yeah, I hope he does give it another go, and I hope he does enjoy it.
Did you see all the memes about it?
No, I haven't seen any memes. I just saw the news, laughed, and just kept scrolling.
I don't know if I should say it on here, but the memes. Do you remember that incident that happened years ago where he videoed in the Japanese forest? And he's like, all the memes are like referring back to that and being like, oh, do you not see any of this? Is that why? Or stuff like that. So it was like really brutal and like really like just a lot of dark humor there. But yeah, honestly, I don't know if this. Do you think this speaks more to like a larger problem with like casual audiences, or do you think it's just Logan Paul?
Bit of both.
But yeah,
a bit of both. I think Logan Paul is the casual audience. He's not quite significant in the entertainment industry apart from, sports, entertainment, sports, and his YouTube.
Yeah.
Other than that, he doesn't really bring anything to movies or TV.
Mm-hmm.
So he could be put into that, that category of who said it? Charlie Kaufman, who he said they're making content for garbage. Because it suits, the people that enjoy garbage, which is Logan Paul, clearly. So he clearly likes those sort of big blustery sort of films, and when a good film comes his way, he just finds it boring because he doesn't allow for the story to play its, to take its time and get to its point.
Yeah, I don't personally. If you don't finish a movie, you don't really deserve to have an opinion on it. That is just my view because you haven't seen the movie. So like me saying Blue Beetle was bad. I've never seen the movie. And if I walked out of it, then I still haven't seen it. You know, you got to see a movie in its entirety. And, you know, a lot of those movies, you know, the final 5 minutes can really define how good or bad a movie is. We're just talking about Game of Thrones, you know, that's brilliant for the most part, but the ending kills the entire thing. So, yeah, the endings make or break a movie. So, yeah, bit of silly comments here. And I thought it was a bit silly that it's become like such big news now, but we live in the day and age where, you know, things blow up on the internet for no reason.
Yep.
But yeah, that is going to do it for us on today's episode. If you hear any weird cuts or anything like that, just please forgive us. We are working remotely, and you know, we're running through Zoom on a free account here, and you have to stop and start every 40 minutes. So it was a little bit awkward doing this, but yeah, we hope that you did enjoy our discussion today. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Your support and engagement does mean a lot to us. If you liked what you heard, follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Consider giving us a rating as well. Stay connected with us on Twitter and YouTube too. Before we say goodbye, we just want to hear your thoughts. Did you agree with all our discussions today? More importantly, did you agree with Logan Paul or disagree with him? Whatever it is, whatever you thought, head on over to @MovieGainz on Twitter. I mean X, sorry. Still trying to get used to that. And yeah, let us know your thoughts. And as always, visit MovieGainz.com for 4K movie reviews, box office analysis, and award season coverage. Sign up to our weekly email newsletter to stay up to date and never miss a beat. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Keep bringing the hype. Peace.
See you later.